to the HYPE Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. We are halfway through the NFL playoffs. We are entering Championship Sunday. Probably, to me, as I reiterated in the last podcast, the best Sunday of the NFL season before Super Bowl Sunday, at least. And we have a surprise participant entering the Final Four going into this Sunday, and all very surprised. Who's going to be facing the Philadelphia Eagles, the giveaway, one of the winners at least and all, going into Championship Sunday and all. But before we get into football at least and all, like at least football on the field, I did want to touch up on the head coaching hirings since today is, I know it's mad early in the morning, but it's January 25th, 5 to 6 o'clock in the morning, and all. Again, I was supposed to record last night, but tired this time, just tired. Can't use basketball as an excuse and all, even though I did play a little bit yesterday and all, but still, I was just tired at least and all. But as of yesterday, at least and all, on January 24th, since today's the 25th, the Las Vegas Raiders hired Pete Carroll, now the oldest coach in NFL history, will be coaching the Las Vegas Raiders going into the 25 season. Yeah, let's read a little quips here. Las Vegas flipped from a first-time NFL head coach in Antonio Pierce to Pete Carroll, who will be the league's oldest head coach ever at the age of 74 into the 2020-2025 season. He did arrive in Seattle in 2010 and then guided them to their first Super Bowl title just 4 seasons later. Pete Carroll, I don't think they're going to mention it, but Pete Carroll did coach at USC, the University of Southern California, I believe for another 10 years prior, if not 9 years prior. Won himself a couple championships too as well. Had himself a couple dope Heisman winners. I think he had 3 overall. But 2 of my favorites, at least, were Carson Palmer and Reggie Bush, who ultimately left school, went to the Saints, and won a Super Bowl. Won a Super Bowl his first season there too as well. Honestly, a Hembo question that I finally got right on Mike Greenberg's Get Up on ESPN and all. So I was very excited about that. But yeah, Carroll's presence could help us stabilize a franchise that has been volatile basically as of late. Raiders minority owner Tom Brady helped hire one of the most known commodities available to kickstart his Las Vegas tenure, one of which he's just as fired up to win as he was in New England. Yeah, Pete Carroll was also, before going to USC, was a coach for the New England Patriots for 4 seasons, I think from 97 to 90, 3 seasons, 97 to 99. And all too as well, where he probably got fired, and they hired Bill Belichick after, and all too as well. And as Patriots fans, we all know what happened after that and all. But yeah, as of yesterday, Las Vegas Raiders hired Pete Carroll as their coach. Just a few hours prior, if not a couple hours prior, if not the day prior, maybe. Yeah, because it was a show at least and all. But Liam Cohen has taken the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching job. I'll read the little subtext here that the NFL.com has. The Jaguars did what they needed to do to haul in their top remaining coaching candidates by firing Baalke, Trent Baalke, who's basically been a GM for the Jaguars over the past few seasons. I would say 4 to 5. Not great. Analysis for him apparently and all. I would say he is drafted well, but organizationally, the Jaguars have been a mess and all too as well, because I'm a big fan of Josh Hines-Allen. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is a talented quarterback, at least on generational, I guess, is a push at this point when we have a rookie quarterback in Championship Sunday, and I'll get into that too as well and all. But But yeah, Trent Baalke, not ringing good analysis, I guess lack of a better word, amongst the league at least and all too as well. I'm close to a Niners fan, Vince Size, who's been on the show too as well, who's not been a big fan of Trent Baalke too as well and all. He explains the situation of Trent Baalke and Jim Harbaugh when he was formerly with the San Francisco 49ers before going to the University of Michigan, and there was a big hiccup between those two regarding, I think, personnel, if I remember correctly, and all too as well. But again, the Jaguars did what they needed to do to haul in their top remaining coaching candidates by firing Trent Baalke, Cohen coached Baker Mayfield into a throwing throwing a career high 41 touchdown passes, tied for the second most in the league this season, right behind Joe Burrow and all. In the first year working with the journeyman quarterback, Tampa Bay also had a top 5 scoring offense in this sole season with okay. Let me just read that right. Tampa Bay also had their top scoring offense, 29.5 points per game, in the sole season with Bucks. This is about Liam Coleman, at least and all. If I got messed up by tanging, at least and all. But Liam Coleman again had a top 5 scoring offense despite Mike Evans being out for 3 games, and despite Chris Godwin, another Super Bowl winning wide receiver on the team, being out for basically halfway through the season and all too as well. Jacksonville hopes to see similar results between Cohen and the 2021 overall pick, from what I mentioned, Trevor Lawrence. Being a talented quarterback, him being the number 1 pick in 2021, he was labeled generational and all too as well, but has not looked like that since he's been drafted, even though he had himself a dope playoff game where he was down 27-0 into halftime and came back and won that game, at least and all. But Liam Cohen is now the Jacksonville Jaguars coach. And we'll see how that goes. Apparently, before I even mention that too as well, Liam Cohen had an interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars, turned it down because I mentioned Trent Baalke was the GM there. Let's bring up. Let me get his name right. Khan. I'm not sure of his first name. Jaguars owner Shahid Khan apparently called Cohen back. Said if basically capitulated to him if he fired Baalke, would he take the job and all. Cohen said yes, but unfortunately for Cohen, he kind of accepted, didn't sign, but kind of accepted going back to Tampa Bay as the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league and all, but side them by an apparent story of using a story, I should say, that he was at the doctor's office with his kid and all too as well, to avoid Tampa Bay in order to go back to Jacksonville and get the job, which is pretty feasible, where Tampa Bay and Jacksonville are in the same state, and guys with that type of money are able to move quicker than some other people like me, at least and all, who got to plan out their plane trips and all too as well. But it seems like Liam Cohen ignored Tampa Bay in order to get the Jacksonville Jaguars job first, and then go back and say, I'm not coming back as the OC and all. And I have questions of Liam Cohen, even though I am a fan, because he is back from where I'm from in the UMass area, or from the Massachusetts area, I should say, at least, and all, coached at UMass Amherst and all too as well. I was a fan going into it. I did want the Pats to look into him too as well, honestly, but if you're giving Liam Cohen essentially the head coaching job and basically full autonomy of the team and all, since you're firing the GM of your team, at least, and all, to give him the job, I would think you're giving him full autonomy of who the GM is, and basically he's going to have a good say on personnel from free agency into draft picks too as well, and to cutting players too as well when we get into training camp and all too as well. But since he didn't handle the situation well, moving on from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I am kind of concerned if he can lead a group of men and all too as well. To mention what he did for the Bucs offense in his first year, that was his first year as an OC and all too as well. He is not as experienced as some other guys too as well. And we're talking about the OC last year for Tampa Bay did a pretty damn good job with Baker Mayfield and Dave Canales, at least, and all. And look what he did for the second half of Bryce Young, at least, and all too as well. When Bryce Young was unplayable to start, when we're seeing Andy Dalton back playing football, at least and all, but in the second half looked great, won a great game against the Atlanta Falcons, basically pushing their chances of going to the playoffs away by winning that football game and all too as well. But again though, I am worried about his leadership skills if he wasn't able to sidestep a job and all too as well. And how can you blame Liam Cohen for not taking that Jacksonville Jaguars job when they're giving you full autonomy, they're giving you a head coaching position, and throw that all out? They're giving the guy $13 million and all too as well for the next probably 4 to 5 years and all. It's basically close to a $100 million contract and all. I'm assuming with incentives and all too as well, bonuses and all. If they make the playoffs, and I would think he gets a bonus for taking the Jacksonville Jaguars to the playoffs over the past few seasons if things have worked out with Urban Meyer and Doug Peterson, at least, and all too as well. So I can't blame him. The way he handled it, though, is not the best. To me, not the best way to handle the situation and all. When you're going from job to job and all too as well, especially high coveted jobs in the NFL where there's only 32 of them available and all too as well. So I am kind of concerned on how he handled that. We'll see how he handles it. We'll see how his offensive mind is and all too as well, if he can overcompensate for that type of situation and all. But next on the list for new hired coaches in the league and all, we got Aaron Glenn going to the New York Jets. We got, let's see what NFL.com has for me. The Jets are bringing back a former franchise star in Aaron Glenn. Yep, Aaron Glenn played for the Jets back in the early 2000s, I believe. And now he's risen up in the coaching ranks since his playing days ended. Glenn comes over from the Lions, where he led them from 26 in points per possession to 8th in one season, despite having 6 defensive starters on injured reserve, 18 overall defensive players on injured reserve for the Detroit Lions this season. But Glenn was drafted by the Jets in '94. Okay, and made 2 of his 3 Pro Bowls with the team. So okay, I do remember him playing in the early 2000s. I think probably my short time he was there in the early 2000s, and then went on to probably the Houston Texans, I believe, and all too as well. I think the Saints too as well before he retired and all. So but I do like the hire. I kind of mirror Aaron Glenn to Brian Flores and all, because I think Brian Flores did a great job with the Miami Dolphins when he was there, even with an organization basically trying to rip everything away from him, not really believing into his vision, at least and all. I think Aaron Glenn can give the same type of characteristics over to the Jets. Obviously, I'm concerned about the organization there too as well when you fire your coach 5 weeks into the season and all too as well. And we see teams have slow starts. Not slow starts. I'm trying to see who had a slow start going into the season. I'm trying to think. The Rams, I think, kind of have a slow start going into the season. At least they had a great second half and they made the playoffs at least and all. So that's why I'm worried about the organizational structure with the Jets at least. And all. Can Aaron Glenn really do what he wants to do and all? And I think we all have a great sign of seeing that when Aaron Rodgers is going to come up on the table and all, do the Jets bring him back or let him go? And I would think a guy like Aaron Glenn, who's got a 3 to 5 year plan, I would think with the Jets at least and all, doesn't see Aaron Rodgers there just because of his 41-year-old age. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is done. I don't think Aaron Rodgers even played bad last season, or ultimately bad at least in all last year. And honestly, he didn't really play that bad. He played more mid than bad, in my opinion, and also mid of the pack. With quarterbacks at least and all, but still, I do like the hire. It's going to be interesting if the Jets are going to let him instill his vision with the organization at least and all. Another hire this week too as well. Another former Lions coordinator and Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears. Bears got their quarterback of the future when they selected Caleb Williams with the #1 pick in last year's draft. Now they have the man to steer the next few years of his career. Johnson made a name for himself by putting his players in position to succeed, and the Bears desperately need for him to do exactly that with Williams, who had an up and down rookie year at least and all. Ben Johnson does get credit for Jared Goff and all, a former #1 pick who was basically thrown away from the Los Angeles Rams after making a Super Bowl at least and all. But the Rams decided that they preferred more from, or at least more talent from the quarterback position, where they ended up trading for Matthew Stafford, a former Detroit Lions quarterback, and ended up trading Jared Goff over to the Detroit Lions and all. Jared Goff was considered damaged goods going to the Detroit Lions and all, but again, Ben Johnson, that's why he's getting so much he's lauded, I should say, for his offensive either genius, intelligence, creativity, whatever you want to call it. But some people want to call it one way and they get annoyed by the other thing at least and all. But he does have some Ben Johnson does have some offensive innovation at least, and I'll go with that at least and all. And with Jared Goff at least and all, who was considered damaged goods and all, turned him into an MVP caliber quarterback this year with his numbers at least and all. Jared Goff was known for interceptions too as well, had one bad game with 5 interceptions I think in all one game at least, which is crazy. But outside of that though, I think 3 total, where it mounted up to like 8 interceptions for the season for Jared Goff at least, and I think 30 plus touchdowns too as well. And also Ben Johnson does get lauded for that and for opening the playbook too as well, where you got laterals, backward laterals in the middle of the field when the receiver's making a catch and all too as well. So I mean, laterals are always backwards, so just mind me saying backwards at least. But still though, that's why Ben Johnson is lauded for maybe helping Caleb Williams out from a cat that basically was, I think, had trouble with his mechanics. Mind you, reading the field, keeping things simple at least. And I think mechanics was a huge issue for Caleb Williams last season at least. And all. Ben Johnson, I would think, could help out with that too as well. Making things a whole lot more simpler for him too as well, and probably getting some pressure off of Caleb Williams and having more run influence plays, getting the receivers more involved in different ways where they can eliminate the quarterback and not being not being so prototypical and all, where we're seeing Amon, where we, no, I'm sorry, Amon St. Brown, but where we're seeing Jamison Williams throwing a pass in a playoff game when they're down like 10 plus points and all too as well. I'm not saying Ben Johnson should be doing that on a consistent basis, but that's my point about his innovation and all. We'll bring out a little bit more with his less pressure on Caleb Williams to be the guy throwing 35 to 40 times and winning these, winning football games, game on game at least, taking a little less pressure off of him and putting him in places to be successful, similar to where he did for Jared Goff at least and all too as well. And I think I mentioned it in the last one, but we'll mention it. The New England Patriots hired Mike Vrabel, the first hire into the head coaching hirings and firings at least and all. The Vrabel, I'll just read this. I'll read this quick snippet from NFL.com. Give me some content too as well. This is not my words. These are NFL.com's words, just in case of copywriting nonsense and all. But Vrabel and the Patriots are quite familiar with one another. With the former linebacker winning 3 Super Bowls with the franchise, he has looked as the favorite immediately after the firing of Mayo. So this result isn't totally surprising. The former NFL Coach of the Year is expected to bring a buttoned-up operation to the New England Patriots and has been regarded as one of the top in-game managers in the league, dating back to his days as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, as I mentioned with Gerard Mayo, I believe in the first episode going into the playoffs at least and all, that not well media trained and all. The stories about him, how he dealt with losses and all too as well, were coming out too as well. But my big thing is lack of network because of bringing Alex Van Pelt, a guy who's been in the league for 15 years but was never an offensive coordinator, just I think a quarterback's coach, if not an assistant offensive coordinator or something like that. And DeMarcus Covington, if I didn't get his name right, excuse me. But again, an inexperienced guy, first time DC and all too as well, and doesn't even have the same experience Alex Van Pelt had and all too as well. I think that alone is the reason why Mike Vrabel was taken so seriously and all going into it. Now they've made coordinator hires, the New England Patriots and all, and Josh McDaniels, former OC for the New England Patriots and former. Yeah, this is his third stint with the New England Patriots at least and all, but when I say former, I think he coached from 06 to 010 before going to, or 2010 before going to Denver for a head coaching job, got fired, and ended up coming back to New England Patriots from 2013 to 2021. Was almost going to leave for an Indianapolis Colts job, but decided to not take it and go back to New England, but then took the Raiders job, I believe in 21, if not 20 or something like that, and got fired 2 years after again, and now is coming back to New England on his third stint and all. But I'm a huge fan of him. That's a guy who can innovate his offense at any moment, not even going into the season, throughout the season, in my opinion. Great guy that can adjust and all. Made Mac Jones look like a legitimate quarterback when I never believed in Mac Jones being a legitimate quarterback. But Josh McDaniels is a legit OC. As a head coach, he sucks. Like, I don't have anything positive to say about him. Coaching wise at least, but when it comes to being a coordinator, especially with the New England Patriots and all, that's basically where I think it's basically the only place where he's been a coordinator in the league at least and all. But he's been pretty damn good and all too as well. I don't think I've ever heard Tom Brady say anything bad about him as a coordinator too as well and all. So I'm excited about that. And Mike Vrabel brought in Terrence Williams, a former Tennessee Titans coach with him, a current defensive line, or not current anymore, obviously the current defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, but last year was the defensive line coach of the Detroit Lions and all too as well. So I'm very excited about that too as well. The thing that I didn't like about Mayo's regime, just for the one season at least, was just the lack of maturity at least and all too as well. I just didn't see that getting better when your team wasn't going to get better in any which way and all. And it was hard for me to think that the New England Patriots can sell free agents coming over to New England as the coach at least. No, Mike Vrabel already is giving me hope that they can bring in a couple players from free agency at least, not compared to last year when they're in a tug of war for Calvin Ridley, and he ends up going to the Tennessee Titans, I believe, while the Patriots offered more money over to him too as well. And also so that's what again, the Patriots hired Mike Vrabel and all. I am very excited. I'm more excited. I wasn't as excited and all because the process was so quick to Mike Vrabel, But when you look at the landscape and all too as well, did you want any of these first-year head coaches outside of Pete Carroll to be your coach? No. And the Kraft's going to bring back Pete Carroll after firing him 25 years earlier or so? No. So I definitely understand Mike Vrabel and all too as well. Guy has been in the league. He was with the Browns last year after being fired at least and all. Was still in the league last year. So he's still mixed in at least and all too as well. The Tennessee Titans, he has success. And the more I hear about his time with the Tennessee Titans, he wanted A.J. Brown. He wasn't the reason why he left and all. I was presuming that he was the reason or part of the reason he left. He is not that. So that changed my view about him too as well. He knows to use his best players. As you saw with that team, relied on Derrick Henry to get to the promised land too as well, honestly. And their defenses were pretty good too as well, honestly. So my thinking of Mike Vrabel has changed. Very excited about what he can bring to the New England Patriots and all too as well. Got a lot of work to do talent-wise and all, but I'm excited about his free agent prospects compared to Gerard Mayo in year 2 at least and all, just because I don't see how Mayo was going to build a network where he could brought in Josh McDaniels was available last year. The Patriots could have brought him in as an OC and still didn't, because I bet Gerard Mayo probably felt the type of way that if things didn't go right, this guy could be the head coach and all too as well and all. And the defensive coordinator and all, there's no way Terrence Williams is coming to coach with Gerard Mayo and all. There's more of a chance of him going to New York to go with Aaron Glenn and being DC over there, or just staying with the Lions and being the DC over there at least. No, there was no chance of him coming to New England as a DC and all too as well. So that's for the head coaching hirings and firings so far. We still have 2 teams that don't have any coaches and all, even though I don't think this is the all right, whatever. But what I'm highlighting here, the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think NFL.com has updated it, but it seems like Brian Schottenheimer is going to be the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys going into the 2025 season. He was a high-end offensive coordinator, no different from Ben Johnson, at least, a highly coveted OC back in the day, at least. I'm not sure what happened, why he never got a job, and all too as well. I'm sure the details will come back onto why he never got a job, at least, and all too as well. But this is a typical hire by the Dallas Cowboys and all. Kellen Moore, in my opinion, would have got the job at least and all, but he's still coaching in the playoffs right now too as well. And the Cowboys can't wait, because there's a chance that even though I don't want to see it, but there's a good chance that the Eagles make the Super Bowl, and that's going to be on February 10th, I believe, if not February 9th, something like that. And that's another 2 to 3 weeks away, honestly, too, as well. They can't wait that long for a chance to get Kellen Moore, at least, and all, too, as well. So I think they're just settling for Brian Schottenheimer. Both guys fit Jerry Jones's type of guy, at least, and all, especially after a guy like Mike McCarthy. Or let me bring in a guy that's more of a guy who can push around, at least, and all, lack of a better word, at least, and all, because we saw Jason Garrett get a job after Bill Parcells and all, and after Jason Garrett, I think they went to Mike McCarthy. Yeah, they went to Mike McCarthy after, and Kellen Moore was supposed to be the coach in line, at least, and all. Mike McCarthy threw that away, and Kellen Moore ended up going to San Diego, at least, or the Los Angeles Chargers, I should say, and was an OC there before going to Philly last season, at least, not too as well. But my buddy Vince did believe that Kellen Moore would have gone to the Cowboys. I believe it. I just think that Kellen Moore is still in the playoffs, so I just think the Cowboys can't wait, even though they're a dumb organization anyway. So them waiting would have been typical of them, but it is a smart move just to get this job over with. And again, Brian Schottenheimer does fit the mold of a coach that they can orchestrate to do what they want to do, at least, and all. More of a guy who's going to stand 10 toes and do what he wants to do, i.e. Bill Parcells and all, cleaning things out from how the team was before he was there, and then what he did after, building basic, and that would, it was Bill Parcells. I know Wade Phillips was a coach there for a little bit. There it is. Okay, it was Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, and Jason Garrett, at least, and all too as well. Then they got to Mike McCarthy and all too as well. But again though, where was I going with that? I know I had to clean that up, at least, and all too as well. But again, the Dallas Cowboys, at least, and all, does fit their mold of Jason Garrett, even the Wade Phillips too as well. Even though I was a big fan of Wade Phillips, still a bit of a pushover. I'm not saying he is a pushover, but he's not as garnered, or I don't want to say respected, at least, and all, but still, Bill Parcells and Mark McCarthy are Super Bowl winning coaches, at least, and all. Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, now Brian Schottenheimer. They're great coordinators, and all. Jason Garrett is a great coordinator as an OC, or was pretty damn good coordinator as an OC and all. with the Dallas Cowboys and Tony Romo and all. Wade Phillips was a great defensive coordinator, won a Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams in 2021 and all too as well. And Brian Schottenheimer, as I mentioned, was a high-end offensive coordinator 10 years ago. Similar, not too similar, because I think Ben Johnson is lauded a little bit more, but at least Brian Schottenheimer was in the elk of a top-end OC and all too as well. That was kind of highly garnered amongst teams and all too as well. So that's the Dallas Cowboys with their head coaching position, and now the Saints are the only one left. I think the worst out of all these coaching positions and all too as well. Even though the Cowboys and the Jets they're kind of right there and all too as well. But the Saints though look like it's just a terrible situation. I believe they're in cap hell too as well, so they won't be able to spend much money in free agency. Mind you, probably have to give up players in free agency to save them from paying a crazy tax bill going in or after the season. I'm not sure how that works and all too as well, but I'm pretty sure they're paying a crazy tax bill right now or cap hit right now going into the 25 season and all too as well. But Aaron Glenn was a prospect, I believe, over there and all. And obviously, he picked the Jets and all. Not sure any prospects with the Saints right now, too, as well. But it does look dire over there, too, as well. And also, the best of the guys at the Super Bowl coming, I guess, and all for the city. When we talk about football, at least, and all. The Pelicans aren't playing well either and all. But that's just injuries. I'll give them a break there. But with the Saints, at least, and all, it does look dire there. Be very curious what they do over there, too, as well, and all. So, I would think a young guy is going to be their best bet at this point, honestly, too, as well. Just because a guy like Aaron Glenn chose the Jets over the Saints and all, too, as well. And I believe Aaron Glenn is, is Aaron Glenn from Louisiana? Let me just check real quick before we move on. Aaron Glenn is from Humble, Texas, at least. And all. He's from the area, he's from the area, at least, and all. But again, kind of surprising that he could have gone close to home at least and all, and still chose the Jets and all too as well. So those are the head coaching hirings so far. Firings was Mike McCarthy being fired from the Dallas Cowboys, or I don't want to say fired at least. No, they just didn't re-up on his contract at least and all. But that's what we got for the head coaches so far in the league and all. Now we can head over to grades. We're going to do grades of the teams that got eliminated from the NFL playoffs and all. One surprise team for me and all too as well. I'm very surprised got bounced out from the playoffs this year. So we'll go to them first. The Detroit Lions got themselves blown out by the Washington Commanders Saturday night at Ford Field and all at home and all too as well. But yeah, Amik Robinson, a backup corner, but was now a starter and stepped up pretty damn well for the Lions. Got hurt first play of the game, if not the second play of the game, for their defense and all too as well. And their defense, even though they had their injuries and all too as well, even though Jane Daniels had himself a great game, he was probably going to score on that Detroit Lions defense anyway and all too as well. The defense just didn't show up at all. Aaron Glenn continuously blitzed Jane Daniels, and he was able to pick that apart too as well. There was even a big play for Terry McLaurin where Jane Daniels split out, gave him basically laddered the ball over, but basically verticaled the ball. I'm not sure the correct term. I'm not a football guy that big at least and all, but still was able to find McLaurin on the side of the field at least and all. There were two cornerbacks there, was able to bust through it. There was no one in the back end and all, because I believe Aaron Glenn was just stuck on blitz packages, was not playing either zone or even just straight up man-to-man and all too as well, honestly. Probably playing man-to-man in a blitz, but not playing man-to-man straight up, and just having 4 rushes at least, and was continuously blitzing Jane Daniels and all, was burned a whole bunch of times in that football game, honestly, too, as well. But I really don't look at the defense and all, too, as well, because there was a pick six by Jared Goff, unfortunately. He did have 3 interceptions in that game, if not 4. Let me look at his stats. It was a bad game for Jared Goff against 3 interceptions that game and a fumble. I think he had a fumble too, but the 3 interceptions, you can't have a turnover, and in the playoff game and all, there's going to be another game that we're going to mention where turnovers were a big thing and all too as well, and basically ended in another top team season at least and all too as well. But Jared Goff was not good in that game against the Commanders and all too as well. I think it was a big part to why they lost that game and all. I think when the Lions offense was beginning to figure it out at least and all, they were always 10 points down, and you can argue the big pick six was huge in that, but another turnover did lead to 3 points for the Commanders too as well, honestly. So that 10 points was basically a difference throughout the whole game. The Lions offense was still able to move even throughout the game at least, but again, those turnovers were a huge difference in my opinion, honestly, too as well. If you eliminate those turnovers, it's back and forth, who's got the ball last, and whoever has the ball last and can hit the field goal at least and all is winning that game at least and all. Because of those turnovers, it really put the Lions in the bad way and all too as well, especially a defense that's missing 18 players. You know what I mean? I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think 7 of them were starters at least for the team. The top one, Aiden Hutchinson, who was leading the league in sacks when he got hurt and all too as well. So the defense was really put in a bad position because of the Goff turnovers. They weren't able to step up, and the Commanders, the surprise team I'm talking about going into Championship Sunday, are going to the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles and all. So for the Lions, for a grade at least and all, it was an A all season and all. The ending is apoplectic, so unfortunately I can't keep it as an A and all. But I will give them a B plus at least and all. I can't argue that injuries were the reason why their defense was not the same and all, even though they were able to step up and all in Week 18 against the Vikings. I think it was more Sam Darnold turning into what Sam Darnold really is at least and all. Not entirely, but some of it what he is. You kind of got it with Jared Goff too as well, honestly, in the game because the game was still at hand before those interceptions and the pick six came into play at least and all too as well. Yeah, he had a big interception to end the half and all, where he had Jamison Williams in the end zone and kind of underthrew him and all. Probably didn't have to make that throw either, honestly, because you take away 3 points with that interception too as well and all. So I just think the turnovers were huge for them and all. But again, I'll still give them a solid B plus. Their offense was historic at least and all. Their defense was The defense was okay even with their injuries and all too as well. That's why Aaron Glenn was so highly coveted as a coach at least and all throughout the league this season and all too as well, or this past this period of head coaching hires and all too, as hirings I should say and all too as well. But I will end up in giving them a solid B plus. Los Angeles Rams unfortunately lost to the Philadelphia Eagles in a snow game essentially too as well, because the first half was basically no snow, but basically trickled in and made some sort of impact in the football game. It's hard to ignore when you look at the Kyron Matthews fumble that the snow didn't have any. The snow had something to do with that. Even the Stafford fumble, you can say snow there a bit. I would say more of the Kyron Williams fumble. I think he had 2 of them and all too as well, but he did have it was one of them. It was just a big fumble. Stafford had himself a fumble too as well. Those fumbles didn't hurt them too as well because they had a chance to score and all too as well. It was just a great play by Jalen Carter to force the sack, and then and basically the Rams had a 4th down and all with no timeouts, basically rushed their last play of the game and all too as well, and dealing with a 4th and 12, if not a 4th and 17 and all. Couldn't really take a penalty because it just makes the situation that much more difficult and all too as well for the Rams and all. But I would grade them as a solid B and all. I did not expect them to do anything. I did not expect the team to lose Aaron Donald, the Hall of Famer, to be in the playoffs the next season, and they essentially were a better playoff team than they were last year when they were a 7th seed last year, now winning the division, being the 4th seed and all too as well. The impressive thing about the Rams is their front 7. You can't ignore it. They had 9 sacks on that O-line and all. Even Jalen Hurts, I got my critiques about him, and he isn't the greatest quarterback, greatest guy holding. He's not the greatest guy in the pocket and all, especially when he's holding it more than 3 seconds and all too as well. But the Rams defense is legit and all too as well. It's hard to ignore that. You got Fisk, who was dealing with an injury, and I think he had 2 sacks and all. Jared Verse, a legit top end young defensive pass rusher too as well. I think he had 2 sacks, if not 1 sack and all. And the whole team had 9 of it. As well, so it's hard not to ignore how good their defense is and how capable they can be moving forward and all too as well. Kyron Williams with the big fumble, honestly too as well. So I'm hearing Rams fans, the ones I speak to on Twitter at least, and all talking about getting themselves a new running back and all too as well, because that is huge. And there were questions about Kyron Williams throughout the season. Blake Corum was supposed to be their number 1 guy, if I heard correctly, and all too as well, and he got hurt throughout the season and all. Rookie running back from the college champion Michigan Wolverines last season and all, wasn't able to play throughout the season. Kyron Williams got more Obviously, got more carries, got more opportunity, and all. It wasn't bad, but apparently the fumbles were a problem for him too, as well. Honestly, so it'll be interesting what they do there. It'll be interesting what they do with Cup too, as well. Getting older, Stafford, same thing. Honestly, I do expect Stafford to play next season, as long as I'm sending him in the retire. Cup is more of a question, and also it'd be interesting to see how he looks going into the season. And well, even before that, it'll be interesting to see how they deal with his contract before seeing if he comes back with the Rams, if he goes if he goes somewhere else, and all too, as well. And all, but it's hard not to give the Rams a solid B. They were in that football game too, as well, even despite the turnovers and all. And you throw away that sack and all by Jalen Carter, that could be a touchdown for the Rams and all. Next thing you know, they have a lead with a minute left and all, and you're forcing the Eagles to move down the field and all and hit a field goal. And Jake Elliott was struggling kicking field goals in that game, and that's before the snow, I believe, and all too, as well. So even though he hit some big kicks in the fourth quarter and all, but still, you still putting that pressure on the Eagles at least, and all too, as well. So it's hard for me not to give them a solid B. For their game against the Eagles and all too, as well. But as you've heard about the NFC, at least, we got the Eagles and the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. I am shocked that the Commanders are still playing football in January and all too, as well. Had high hopes for them this year. Big fan of JD5 going into this year and all. A team that looked close of some big wins last year, especially against the Eagles and some regular season games and all. I feel like Ron Rivera just coached their chances way out of winning those football games and all too, as well. Dan Quinn, a guy who took a defensive undisciplined defense in the Dallas Cowboys and turned them into a pretty lit defense and all too, as well, just with the turnovers that they were forcing over the past couple of years with them, from Diggs before he got hurt into DeRon Bland last year and all too, as well. Micah Parsons step up in game 2 with Dan Quinn and all. There's a lot to trust there too, as well, honestly. So I think they brought in Adam Peters, a GM who was formerly with the Niners too, as well. And you can see how they built their team with the Louvu signings, with the Wagner signings, with the Chin signings too, as well, with the move to get Lattimore too, as well, looking for that same physicality that the San Francisco Niners have brought throughout the past couple of years and all, leading to the 2 Super Bowl appearances too, as well. And all, it's still a surprise though that they're sitting here one win away from getting to the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback and all too, as well, who's looking like the best quarterback in the league right now too, as well, mind you, just being a rookie and all. But he had himself a great game against the Lions and all, where the mistakes were big for the Lions. The no mistakes for Jaden Daniels were huge and all. I think it helped keep that 10-digit deficit against the Lions and all, because the Commanders are not turning over the ball, and the main reason why it was because of Jaden Daniels, JD5, honestly too, as well. So I cannot wait. We'll preview that a bit going forward at least and all, but that's how the NFC is shaking out going into Championship Sunday. For the AFC at least and all, for the first game we have the Chiefs and the Texans and all too, as well. There is so much we can talk about there, honestly, too, as well. But we'll just keep it the Texans and their grading system and all, too, as well. I'll save my time on Twitter for the crazy shit, at least, and all, too, as well. And there's some crazy shit in that, too, as well. We'll see if we'll sneak it in and all. But for a grade for the Texans and all, I think it's fair to give them a solid B- and all. The way they played this game and all, it's hard not to give them a B and all, because I think there were a lot of other factors to why they lost this game, more than them playing it and all, too, as well. This is a team, but this is the stat for this football game. Teams that have outled their opponent by 100 yards or more are 49-0. The Texans outgained the Chiefs by 100 yards. They lost. And it's not like there was a play here or there that was very interesting that helped the Chiefs and all. And one play to me that forced a 4th down, but since the penalty was called, the Chiefs offense was back on the field, and they were able to score and all too, as well, I believe, on that drive. I'm not sure if it was a touchdown, but they were able to score and still keep the lead. I believe they had the lead on the Texans basically the whole game. Maybe there was a moment the Texans had a 1-point lead. I don't remember essentially, but again, a lot of favoritism for the Chiefs and all too, as well. And I think that's why it's hard for me that's why I'm still giving the Texans a B-, but I can argue that they kind of deserve a B for their performance and all too, as well, because I have to check. Let me check. I don't think the Texans had themselves a turnover. That maybe was the difference in the game. Let me just don't. I don't remember one off the top of my head. Is the only thing. Team stats, interceptions. Yeah, no interceptions, no fumbles lost. Yeah, and they outgained their opponent by 100 and the math real quick, 24 yards and all. Outgained them passing wise by 25 yards. Outgained them rushing wise by 99 yards and all too as well. They had more first downs. Their third down efficiency was better. The the Chiefs had a better fourth down efficiency, so look at the difference right there. You know what I mean? The real shit, honestly, too, as well. Had more. No. Yeah, the Chiefs had more sacks, which makes sense. The Texans' O-line ain't great and all, too, as well. But, the Texans had more penalties and all. So when you look at those margins, you can see why they lost that game and all. Against the Chiefs and all. Other factors still too as well. But I think they had themselves a solid year. The defense really showed down the second half of the year and all. The defense, you can argue, kept them in this game too as well. Honestly, Will Anderson, the play I mentioned was Will Anderson. He had that ugly play for the against the Chiefs and all too as well. But had himself an awesome game, man. That tackle on Xavier Worthy with basically one arm was awesome too as well. Honestly, so it's just a lot I like about the Texans and all. They fired. Now talk about. I guess some coaching stuff at least. No, they did fire their OC Bobby Slowick from his duties at least and all. There's one Texan fan from the Twitter spaces I'm involved with is not a fan of him. Is very blessed that he's gone. I'm pretty sure others are too as well. I don't think he did a bad job and all. If he was part of the reason why their O-line sucked, then I don't think I don't think he deserves his job. I wanted to say they even fired the O-line coach too as well and all. So if he was part of the mix on why their O-line just couldn't figure out consistency and all. And the Texans did spend on their O-line too as well this past off season and also the fact that they couldn't get better sounds like the Cincinnati Bengals from a couple seasons ago too as well. But the fact that again that O-line was such a mess and all. If he was part of the reason why it was such a mess, I can see why they let him go. It'll be interesting who they bring in as the next OC. Chip Kelly is a name. I know he's more connected with the Jacksonville Jaguars position with Liam Cohen and all too as well. But it could be a name that the Texans could be interested in too as well, honestly, especially if they're willing to pay for somebody to structurize what they got going on offensively with C.J. Stroud and all. And on the other team, very disappointing season for the Baltimore Ravens and all. Their season in the regular season was great. One loss I think really hurt them. What's the difference? Yeah, the loss against the Raiders this year at home. Early parts of the season I think really hurt their chances of having this game at home, because if they had the same record as the Buffalo Bills, I believe they would have got the tiebreaker because they beat the Bills throughout in the regular season matchup that they had at least and all too as well. So I think that loss was huge for them. And then when we go into this game, at least in all, turnovers. Again, Lamar Jackson threw an interception. Lamar Jackson had a fumble and all. The interception did not lead to any points, so that's why that's nullified. Even I count turnovers like that. If your turnovers don't lead to points, it's hard to say a turnover hurts you, at least in all too as well. That's why I bring up the 10 points that the Commanders got on Jared Goff, at least in all too as well. That's why I bring up the field goals that Jake Elliott got on the Rams when they had those fumbles on the opponent's side of the field, at least in all too as well. The Eagles didn't move the ball, but they were able to get themselves some field goals and all. And look at that difference. And all, instead of looking for a touchdown where that sack happened, you just need the field goal and all. So those were two huge turnovers and all. And the Ravens too as well. Even though that interception didn't lead to one, his fumble did lead to points for the Buffalo Bills and all too as well. What was the score of the game? I know it was a close. Yeah, it was a close game. Yeah, it was close. I think it was, before I look it up, I think it was 27-25. Yeah, and Mark Andrews dropped a 2-point conversion and all too as well. So that fumble is big and all too as well. Even though Lamar Jackson was a big part to their fourth quarter comeback. Derrick Henry was a big part of their third quarter comeback, and they started to run all over the Buffalo Bills in the third quarter and all to get them back. They were down 21-10 going into the third quarter, scored that big touchdown by Derrick Henry and all to get them back within 4 points and all too as well. The Bills weren't able to do much offensively and all. I think the rest of their points were field goals. Yeah, 21 points, they ended up with 27. So 2 Tyler Bass field goals and all too as well, right? Yeah, 2 field goals in the fourth quarter and all. They didn't score any points in the in the third quarter and all too as well. I think the Ravens have 9 points because they went for 2, missed it, and they got themselves a field goal later on in that quarter and all. But the fumble was huge and all too as well. It was a difference of 3 points, I believe. I think it was a field goal the Bills scored. And that's the difference of the game and all too as well. I think Mark Andrews even had a fumble too as well. Yeah, had a fumble. I think that led to one of the 3 points for the Bills too as well, honestly. So it was just big turnovers, honestly. The Mark Andrews drop is obviously the thing that we look at and all, but there's other factors in the game obviously that led to that point and all. Lamar Jackson holds that ball. It's 3 points points away. If Mark Andrews just holds that ball, he made a great catch for a first down, though, just wanted to make a move and got the ball smacked out of his hand and all, too, as well. Again, if you don't fumble there, it's 3 points away from the Bills and all. That could be 3 points for you, and you probably don't even need that 2-point conversion and all, too, as well at the end of the game. So I look at turnovers huge in the playoffs and all. I think they're a huge factor. And all, I think that's what hurt the Ravens and all, too, as well. From a team that should be graded a B plus and all, I'm going to sit there and give them a B minus at the end of it, too, as well. Honestly, I looked at them as the best team in the AFC and all, and unfortunately, they didn't play like the best in the first half against the Bills and all. While the Bills just played consistent, played ball control, didn't make any wild decisions at least, and all, too, as well. They kept it simple for them, too, as well. Honestly, their best chance of winning a game against a team that's better, and it worked out, honestly, even though the Ravens were able to have a better second half. It wasn't enough because, to me, that one fumble and all, because it led to 3 points and all, too, as well. Mark Andrews' fumble is more bigger to me than his drop and all, too, as well. Because if you don't make that fumble, you're not in the position where you need to make that catch and all, too, as well. And it's not a guarantee you win that game and all. I think there was still time for the Bills to go down the field and get a field goal and win the football game, too, as well. And also that 2-point conversion doesn't give you a win. Bills can still go down, get that field goal and all. We're not looking at that 2-point conversion catch. We're looking at those fumbles by Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson, unfortunately, and all, for being the difference maker in that game and all. So that's why I give the Ravens a B minus and all. That Raiders loss in the beginning of the season, I think it was a huge reason why this game wasn't in Baltimore compared to Buffalo and all, because they beat Buffalo this season and all. If they had tie records, they would have the tiebreaker and all. And the game would have been at NT Bank Stadium in Baltimore and all. And if it wasn't for that bad first half and all, too, as well, they're winning that football game because they completely dominated the Buffalo Bills in the second half and all. The Buffalo Bills only scored 6 points, while the Ravens scored 13 points, if I got it right. 13 points? No. 9 plus 6 is 15. 9 plus 6 is 15. So 15 points in that second half, at least, and all, too, as well. They completely dominated that. And the reason why, to me, that the Bills had a 21-10 lead in the first half, because of the 2 turnovers and all, too, as well. The 1 turnover didn't lead to points, but you did take away points from yourself, too, if you're Baltimore and all. So those are my grades, at least, and all, from the divisional weekend, at least, and all. We got 4 teams left now. Where's the image for me? Yeah, Shahid Khan, Jared Goff. Yeah, where's the championships? There we go. We need to put up an image of the teams that are playing now. No, they gave me the thumbnail, and then they give me that. There we go. Let's see if we can enlarge the photo a little bit. I guess not. So let me save the image. Let's open it. Give me a second. For the people that are listening, I'm just on YouTube trying to get this image up, if it lets me. If it doesn't, whatever. Yeah, it's not gonna let me. So we're gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Can I do this? There we go. Ooh. Ads be annoying. We know. Alright. Closing word. So now we got Championship Sunday and all. At 3 o'clock, we got the Eagles versus the Commanders in a big game versus who was the best quarterback in the NFC and all. I think we all know who the only quarterback is in this game and all. But I'll stop trolling. But I think the Eagles are a -6 in this game too. As well, so they are favored by 6 points and all. I haven't picked the Commanders in any game so far that the Bucks would beat them and all, too, as well. The Commanders stood tall in that one and won that game. Obviously, I picked the Lions to beat the Commanders and all, and the Commanders definitely played their best game, I think, this season against the Lions and all. They're going to have to bring their best game against the Eagles and all, too, as well. I'm highly concerned, honestly, because of Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley is my huge concern and all. There are injuries that the Eagles do have that should label some concern for them. Obviously, Jalen Hurts with his MCL injury. I've heard he had a brace on practice, and also be interesting if he's wearing a brace for the game because that does limit mobility and all too as well. I'm not a fan of. I think I've mentioned I don't like wearing braces when I play basketball and all, or even sleeves when I'm playing basketball and all. So I can only imagine because of the whole, because I'm a type of person, I'm not, as you can see, I'm slim and slender. I'm not the most muscular man and all too as well. So I gotta be shifty. I gotta be able to move around and stuff like that too as well to look for an advantage against my opponent, at least and all too as well. And also it kind of, if I'm wearing a brace or something like that on my knee or my ankle, I feel restricted. Being shifty, being quick, accelerating too as well, and also obviously Jalen Hurts is a supreme prime that athlete, at least and all too as well. So I'm sure he'll be able to handle it better than I can handle it too as well. A guy who can deadlift 600 pounds, at least I'm pretty sure he can handle a knee brace and all too as well. But just the mobility part too as well. Is he limited just a tad, at least and all? Can he make a quick move when a defensive pass rusher is coming onto him too as well? Honestly, because it did look that to the 9 sacks I mentioned for the Los Angeles Rams against the Philadelphia Eagles, at least and all, Jalen Hurts did seem unable to move out of the pocket in certain situations, at least. And I look at a play when the first half ended too as well. Honestly, I feel like he could have at least gone out a little bit and thrown the ball away, but he looked stuck, in my opinion, dealing with that knee and all too as well. And another injury for the Eagles, Nakobe Dean is going to be out. I think he got hurt against the Rams. Maybe he got hurt against the Packers. I don't remember, but he's going to be out for this game and all. Looks like he's out for the rest of the season and all. Can the defense still show out the same too as well? Honestly, they did show issues in the back end when you have Matthew Stafford throwing for 300 yards in the snow. At least now I am worried about that for them too as well. And Jane Daniels has proven he'll cook and dice when he's afforded the time, at least and all too as well. He's going to be able to slice and dice any type of defense and all. This is the same defense where his team had 5 turnovers. I believe he had 2 interceptions out of the 5 turnovers and was able to throw for 5 touchdowns and still win the football game too as well and all, against the same defense who won't have Nakobe Dean and all too as well. So, but I just think Saquon Barkley is the true factor and all. This could easily be a ball control game for the Eagles and all, and where the Commanders may be more rushed and all. They are used to playing fast because of their no huddle, I should say, pace and all that. They typically play blitz and all, basically what they've played with all of this postseason all too as well. But I have to pick the Eagles, to be real, honestly too as well. I'm definitely cheering for the Commanders. I will be hate watching this game thoroughly and all too as well, hoping that the Commanders can pull off another surprise for me, honestly too as well. Even though I thought they'd be the surprise of the league, I never thought they'd be this big of a surprise, playing into January, possibly into February and all too as well. But I trust the Eagles' run game, even though Jalen Hurts is dealing with that mobility thing, dealing with the knee thing. I still do expect them to be featured in their run game, maybe more up the middle stuff, the more outside stuff too as well, honestly. But I don't, even though the Commanders' defense has showed out a bit, they have been run over. They have been run over on in this postseason by Bucky Irving, by Jahmyr Gibbs last week and all too as well. I do expect the Eagles to do what they want to do running wise too as well. We thought the Rams, I didn't think so, but there was some thought that the Rams, because of the big game that Saquon had early in the season, they can slow him down a bit. They didn't slow him down. The man had 2 plus 60 yard. I think it was 2 plus 60 yard touchdowns again, if not 2 40 plus yard touchdowns. 40 plus yard touchdowns in the game against the Rams and all too as well. And also, I don't think you're stopping him. I think he's having one hell of a special season and all compared to JD5 for the Commanders and all too as well. I just trust the talent a bit more on the Eagles and all in this football game, so that's why I'm picking the Eagles in a 27-20 type of game. Honestly, I don't think it's in any type of blowout and all. I think this is close throughout and all too as well. I just trust in the pressure situations and all. I trust Saquon, but again, I think it's a fair point you need to bring up with JD5. If he has the ball with a chance to win it with 2 minutes or less, he's scoring. So he's done it with the Hail Mary alone. You should know that he's going to score. So that's what it is. Again, with the Lions game too as well, bunch of turnovers. The Eagles don't play like that. I think that's what gave the Commanders, as I mentioned, that's what gave the Commanders that double-digit lead against the Lions. That's not happening against the Eagles. The Eagles aren't going to sit there and turn over the ball and all too as well. I think that's why the Rams did what they did against the Vikings and all, turnover game by the Vikings and all. They took advantage and all. The Eagles didn't, and it took a sack It took a sack by Jalen Carter at the end of the game to slow them down and all too as well. Imagine if they didn't have the turnovers. They can probably sit there and not blow out the Eagles, but maybe have a commanding win at least and all too as well. The Commanders won't have turnovers and also that's what can make this game close and very interesting for them to win this game and all too as well. But I just trust that O-line and Saquon Barkley a bit more than JD5 right now too as well. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to fight what JD5 is doing and all too as well. It doesn't make sense what's going on with the Commanders and all. But if they win this game, I think it just adds on to their special season all too as well. But that game means nothing. This game, this is the creme de la creme right now with Josh Allen versus Mahomes and all too as well. Even though they don't face each other and all too as well, it really is the Bills versus the Chiefs and all too as well. But this is a chance for this is a legacy. This is a true legacy game for both players and all too as well. Obviously, if Mahomes wins, he's on his way of winning back-to-back Super Bowls. Never been done in the Super Bowl era, I believe, and all too as well. Probably champion, when it was just a NFL championship game. Probably back then, and all we had some teams probably went back-to-back. But in the Super Bowl era, I can't think of anyone that went back-to-back. I can't think of anyone that went to back-to-back Super Bowls besides the Buffalo Bills and all and lost them all. I think they went to another one and lost that one too and all. But we're talking about a guy who has a chance to go first time back-to-back to the Super Bowl and all. And Josh Allen, I don't think enough can be said and all. You have a chance to beat Pat Mahomes, a guy who's been in your way of going to the Super Bowl from the time that he went to the championship game in 2022 or 2020 and lost to the Kansas City Chiefs that season and all too as well. Took away his chance to go into the Super Bowl then. Had a lead on the Chiefs in 2022. If 2022, I'm trying to remember the year, but 2022 we had. If I'm wrong, please correct. I'll be correct. I'll correct myself. But what's it called there? Had himself a lead with 13 seconds left against the Chiefs and all. The Chiefs still came down and tied the football game. They ended up winning the football game in overtime at least and all. So Josh Allen has been here before. I think this is the fourth time they're going to be facing in the playoffs and all too as well, where Josh Allen is sitting 0-3 and all. I've mentioned those two. I think there's another. Yeah, last year's game where a close game and all. I'm not sure why Sean McDermott went for a fourth down and all too as well. Without your best player on the field, used the special teams unit to go for fourth down and all. But again, a throwaway. Chris Jones with a great pass rush on Josh Allen, honestly, but a throwaway of winning that football game and beating Mahomes at Buffalo and all too as well. Josh Allen has beaten Mahomes a couple times and not a few times in the regular season, but has never beaten them in the playoffs and also against the legacy point. A chance to beat Mahomes finally, and when you win this, if you win this game against Mahomes, you're going to the Super Bowl. Going in the Super Bowl and have a chance to win the ring, and finally a team that's gone to 4 Super Bowls, never won one, they finally have a chance to win a Super Bowl with Josh Allen as the quarterback and all too as well. So, but hard one to guess and all too as well. I will have to pick the Chiefs and all too as well because of their precedence and all too as well, because you can have the Houston Texans outgain them, do well on first down and all too as well, and still lose the football game by 10 points. It wasn't even like a possession game. They lost the game by still 14 points. I think it was 27-13. It wasn't that type of football game. It was closer than what the score indicates, at least and all too as well. But still, we're talking about a team that has all these deficiencies. Last year had so much deficiencies offensively and still went to the Super Bowl and won it and all too as well. That's my problem. I think Josh Allen has to make a play or two. There's no way he can play the way he played against the Ravens and win that game at least and all. They will need to run the ball the same way at least not, but I think they're gonna need to rely on his arm a couple times to win that football game, maybe a couple times in the second half at least and all too. So he's going to need to make a throw here and there because I can trust the Spags defense to make a play here or there or put themselves in a position to make a play and to disrupt whatever they got offensively at least and all, make that one big play to cinch the game and all too as well. In that instance, Josh Allen, in my opinion, needs to make that throw or something to give the Bills a chance to win that football game too as well. And also, but I do have the Chiefs. I think this is another close game too as well, honestly. If anybody picks up a big lead, I think it's the Bills, at least. No, like I've said, I don't think the Chiefs have the ability to blow out a team or have a big command on the team. I think it was kind of there against the Texans, even with their help from the Zebras and all too as well. And they still couldn't get a big lead until they finally outlasted the Texans and all, and they were able to pick up another score and all to make that a 14-point win for them too as well. No, I don't think they have the ability to do that. The Bills do. We saw how that they got their lead on the Ravens, a better team than them too, honestly, and they're still able to have a 21-10 lead. And mind you, turnovers, and it's hard for me to think that the Chiefs are going to come in and have a turnover game or a potential chance of a turnover game. And also, I expect both games to be clean as hell. I think all four teams have shown the ability to play clean and all too as well. I would expect that this Sunday and all. I think that's why all these games are pretty damn close and all too as well. So, but give me the Chiefs and Eagles in the Super Bowl. Ralph will be cheering for the Bills and Commanders in the Super Bowl. There's no way. I want to see part 2 of Eagles Chiefs and all too as well. And the same way it was too as well. Bills Commanders is something fresh and all too as well. You're adding new people into the conversation of championship level, teams at least and all too as well. If you're putting JD5, a rookie, in there, and you're putting finally Josh Allen there, who's been knocking at the door where you can say 4 or 5 years now, and is finally here if he's able to win this football game against the Chiefs at Arrowhead and all too as well. So I got myself at an hour. That's right at it. That's pretty impressive. And also, again, I appreciate you guys listening. We'll be back to preview the Super Bowl, preview me going to New Orleans and all too as well for a couple days, from Monday to Wednesday and all. I'm hoping to go to opening night and all too as well. That's why I really want Bills Commanders. Those personalities, that'd be so dope to see like that. Compared to Mahomes would be cool, Saquon Barkley would be cool, but I don't care for the Jalen Hurts conversation and the whole Chiefs Kingdom thing. Overall, I don't care for it because I think my dynasty is better from what I grew up in. At least, I was a New England Patriots fan, at least not too as well. But definitely be previewing the Super Bowl and all. Previewing what I'll probably be trying to check out and all too as well. There is a networking event on Tuesday. I'm pretty excited to check out there too as well and all. But we'll be previewing that, seeing if the New England Saints finally hired a coach too as well, honestly. The losing teams here too as well, we'll grade them out too as well. Most likely, all these teams are going to be graded to B. I thought I'd be grading the Commanders and all. I kind of previewed that in the last recording, and I'm not grading them yet and all. I hope I can wait another 2 weeks to grade them too as well, honestly. So, but can't wait for this Sunday and all too as well. I think it's been a pretty damn good playoffs too as well. This past Sunday was obviously the best quality in my opinion too as well. Honestly, we saw if you have turnovers, there's a good chance of you losing that football game and all too as well. A huge difference in all games except for the Chiefs and Texans game too as well, where they were start outlining things too as well, honestly, where I won't go too deep into the buffoonery of that and also. But we'll end it out here and all. I do appreciate you guys listening. I did want to, since I'm on the YouTube side, show out the cover art before I go and all. So yeah, you guys can leave, if you guys are listening on on any podcast platform, please leave a rating for us too as well. Leave a rating for me, I guess, because obviously I'm the only one running this right now, but I'm just having fun with this right now. But please leave a rating for us too as well on any podcast platform you guys listen and all too as well. If you guys are listening on YouTube, please subscribe too as well. Drop a like, drop a comment. If you guys have anything to say to that too as well, honestly. And then again, as you see on the top here, go visit likeeaglellc.com for more podcasts too as well, honestly. Check out the places I've been too as well and all. And subscribe and all to the website to set me to get ready for the promotions of my shop and all too as well, and a possible giveaway from the website too as well and all, when we get the shop all started up and ready to go to really start enforcing promotions for the podcast and all too as well and all. So again, appreciate you guys listening. We will talk soon. Peace.